Assalamu alaikum, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, salatu wassalamu ala rasulul kareem, amma ba'd. Welcome, brothers and sisters. Apologies, we're a few minutes late. Let's get the show started. Sheikh Ahmed Amir.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. من جاء بالحسنة فله عشر أمثالها ومن جاء بالسيئة فلا يجزى إلا مثلها وهم لا يظلمون. قل إنني هداني ربي إلى صراط مستقيم دينا قيما ملة إبراهيم حنيفا وما كان من المشركين. قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له وبذلك أمرت وأنا أول المسلمين. قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له وبذلك أمرت وأنا أول المسلمين. قل أغير الله أبغي ربا وهو رب كل شيء ولا تكسب كل نفس إلا عليها ولا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى ثم إلى ربكم مرجعكم فينبئكم بما كنتم فيه تختلفون. وهو الذي جعلكم خلائف الأرض ورفع بعضكم فوق بعض درجات ليبلوكم فيما آتاكم إن ربك سريع العقاب وإنه لغفور رحيم. صدق الله العظيم.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another Daroon show with me, Captain Caveman.
And me, Professor Gray.
And me, Muhammad Abul Kalam, Daroon Mac.
Okay, so Do you want to tell us, Abdul and Kalam, why we're late?
Did
you see both of them started talking at the same time? You know how guilty people are. Yeah, that's this is classic guilty behavior.
No, I was just saying I needed to iron my shirt, make sure like it wasn't creased and all that. You see,
very nice shirt, brother.
Thank you, bro. Jazakallah.
Okay, now I put my hands up. I was a little bit late. I was out cycling. I got here on time, but then my internet's busting, so it might even bust now. It busted a little bit in the middle again. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on. But yeah, so I've got a bit of internet issue going on. But I'm hoping, inshallah, we'll stay connected.
Inshallah. Right. So, Kalam, do you want to do the honorary thing and remind people of the numbers and things like that?
Of course, alhamdulillah, brothers and sisters, you're watching Easy Talk, and we need your participation and engagement and involvement. This show is what you make it. So 0208 1234 507 is the number for you to call, to comment, to debate, to discuss, and to participate in the yes, no game. We didn't have any.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I really want to see that this time around today. So hopefully, brothers and sisters, come on, give me that shot. I want to see how good you are at it and how good Kalam is.
There's two things at the moment, right? One is we had two people that competed on the first time, yeah? One was Muhammad and the other was Khalid, wasn't it?
Yeah, Khalid al-Rahman. Yeah.
So Khalid al-Rahman is the only one who's got back to us with his contact. Muhammad, I don't know who Muhammad is actually, to be honest. He's never contacted us. I don't know if you're watching Muhammad, but you need to contact us. Or someone can pretend to be Muhammad and contact us, and maybe you'll get to the next round. But today is the last day for anyone else to enter. Otherwise, if Muhammad doesn't get in touch and nobody else enters today, Khalid's going to win this.
Yeah, it's going to be a walk in the park for him. So listen, this competition is open for brothers and sisters, and we're on a new platform. Apparently it's a little bit better than the previous platform, so there shouldn't be a delay. So it should be a bit more of an even playing field for you guys and for us. So yeah, call in and let's play this game. Look, people are saying, somebody, who's this geezer? Zishan Siddiqui saying a much better shirt than last week.
Yeah, it's
I can't disagree there.
Yeah, it's
last week.
Yeah, Kalam, it's a Jil Milik shirt, isn't it? It's quite.
It's very nice. It's got some flowers all over it. Can you see?
Yeah, it must have been really hard ironing there.
Yeah, no, it's a very, very floral shirt. It's one of those Friday night shirts. Move, get out. I'm doing a show. This is live. I don't need any children. Out you go. No. Get out. Excuse me. This is the problem with live shows. Don't report me to social services. I did not hit the child. I simply sternly but firmly said no.
Yeah.
Get out.
That's also, like punishment, isn't it? But
right. Can you not read the messages?
Message. Oh, sorry. Messages. Okay. Ali Ahmed is saying Assalamu alaikum. A lot of Assalamu alaikum from Ali, and then from Abdul Alim. And you've got Timothy saying, I'm happy you guys are a little late because I'm late as well. But it looks like I'm not late and I'm on time. Abdul Alim is saying, first order of business should be a congratulations to Azad for great victory on Muslimic countdown. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that one, I guess. We'll have to talk about it. Samsul Islam is saying, when are you doing the Muslimic countdown with the Easy Talk host, Azad Bhai?
It's Salman Butt is the host. So you guys can enter anytime.
And Zubaydah is saying, I missed the Booth House Massive. Where are they at? Booth House Massive?
Basically, the homeless.
All right. Okay. Yeah. No. We should enter it. We should enter the countdown.
I've already played for Cage.
Yeah, I'll do it for I might do it for somebody. Yeah, give someone a little nudge, innit? Come on,
just tell someone you're up for the challenge.
What's the challenge? Yeah. What's the challenge?
Basically, you know that the game countdown. Yeah. So basically, you play countdown with somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had Hamza Zortis as my opponent. It's just hilarious because
he's all talk, isn't he, that one?
Hamza, it comes on, right? I swear to you, this is what he does. It comes on and he goes.
Oh,
he doesn't even give me salam, right? First thing he does is that. That's all right, bro. If that's how you want to play it, and then I smashed him out the park.
What's his name? Hamza Tortoise, did you say?
Zortis.
Not Tortoise.
I don't know who's
talking. Right, the speed he was working at, bruv. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You get that, Dubai? No? All right, never mind.
Never mind. Okay, so brothers and sisters, what would you like to discuss? What's been happening? Put some suggestions on topics in the comment section, and inshallah we will start the discussions. What's been happening for you guys, man? What's bugging you?
Obviously, you know, look, from last week, the situation is on continuing in terms of the George Floyd and the racism issue and all of that stuff. I think it's this toppling of statues and removing of street names seems to be progress, seems to be good news on the face of it, but I don't know, you know, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's I suppose it's a gesture in the right direction, and I think you know, what I found really interesting was before the Timeless Massive got organized, the council thought, you know what, let's just get rid of the slave trader now. So that was actually a good thing. I think, look, you know what it is. Yes, there are going to be symbolic acts and things that just, you know, they won't have that much substance, but it is important because prior to what happened in Bristol, you still had these slave traders in open, whether people say they're celebrating it or not, it is, and you know, to have someone's statue in the understanding of the West is someone to be celebrated, is someone that they're proud of. That's why they put a statue up. No one puts a statue up to someone they're not proud of, do they? So everyone that's arguing against removal statues, they need to fix up their argument. The other thing is they're saying, oh, you're getting rid of history. Well, you're not. You don't learn history from a statue, right? You know, you learn history from history books, but more importantly, you learn history holistically. Now, what, you know, these slave traders, leaving them where they are, what history are people learning?
And by the way, you learn history critically as well. You know, you don't just absorb history. You have to be critical as well in looking at history as well. I just cycled past a school that's got a name, and there's some people campaigning to get rid of the name of that school. So I'm not really sure. John Cass School. That's it. Yeah, I never even knew it.
Exactly. This is the point. The whole point is that a lot of these slave traders who actually profited immensely. I didn't know that this country was paying off for, you know, buying, you know, the country, the government, to stop the slavery in the UK. They paid off the slave traders.
Yeah.
Up until 2015, we were still paying the debt of that payment. Yeah, something like over billions of pounds. Now, the issue is actually really, really serious because a lot of these guys, they went out, they made their money. And actually, let's bring it home because you can do injustice. You can do things that are heinous and make money and profit and actually become successful in the dunya, just like these slave traders. They went out to Africa, they made people captive, they killed people, they treated people really, really horribly. I was on the internet and you saw in, I think it was Switzerland, they had Zimbabwe, like a zoo where they had African kids. In Belgium, exactly. African kids, you know, like you go see an animal, like you go see a tiger or a bear. You've got African kids in cages, and this was their pastime. And so the point is that people are profiteering, making money, and then they become very, very nice, philanthropical. They build schools, hospitals, they pave the streets of England, and people think, oh wow, what a, you know, brilliant person. Similarly, in Islam, you know, you might earn your money doing haram all your life, and people think, oh, just because they've got a beard now, they've gone to Umrah, you know, their past sins are forgiven. It's not the case. You have to seek redemption. That's the thing.
Kalam, I mean, obviously it's not their fault, but there are many people who have actually benefited financially through inheritance as well. For these people have passed on their wealth to the next generation. So there are hierarchies that we also have to understand that they've actually they had finance like a spoon. So I think people who are raising this, a lot of them are historical. People have been arguing this case for a long time, but obviously with this situation, it's actually come at the forefront. And I mean, the other day when I saw people campaigning for John Cass, how many people that I know went to Sir John Cass school?
Yeah.
Do you see, like, and also another friend of mine, he just messaged me saying that the person who basically kind of conquered or entered Bengal as well, there's another campaign to get rid of him as well. Yeah. So, even the disaster that took place in Bengal with the colonial time as well. So, from all different angles, people are now really looking at racism historically, culturally. And I think it is the time now that we reflect and make those changes, because if we don't do it now, it's not going to happen. Now, there is one question that needs to be asked. That question is, why is the far right so quiet at the moment? Hey,
listen, talking about the far right, bro, it's a shame. I mean, Shams has put on the messages there that Tommy's not coming to London anymore.
Come on.
Yeah. No, I was going to go and join him, man. You know what he was going to do, bruv? He was going to rip down the statue of Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Where's that?
I'm going to join you. I want to help you rip that statue down. But it's not going to happen.
It's a problem, isn't it, when there's no idolatry in our religion?
You know what? I was scratching my head when he was saying that. I was thinking, where the hell is he going to find that statue? Let's go hunting that statue somewhere.
But my thing about all of this anti-slavery stuff is, obviously, we don't, slavery is wrong, all of that. But we need to know our history as well. And before we enter into a debate or a discussion, we need to be informed. Slavery wasn't abolished straight away in our faith. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had people who were under, like, people who worked for him, and it was a work in progress to abolish slavery, even in Islamic history. He had, Maria the Coptic gift, a woman was gifted to him by the king and ruler of Egypt. And if we don't know our history, and if we don't know the rationale and the arguments, it could be a difficult thing, actually, if people do question us and do ask us these hard questions. So I think, we need to be careful
on this. Look, of course, there's many things that happened in gradual forms in Islam. And I think, who was it? Douglas Murray and people like these racist Islamophobes. They basically tried to say that the Prophet ﷺ had slaves and was all of that kind of stuff. But what they're not telling you is that, first of all, yes, slavery existed at that time, and what the Prophet ﷺ did is he started to free the slaves. And that was the change that was happening. And we know the stories and everything else, but. Look, in all of these things, the way to approach it is you never approach and enter a debate on the terms of racists and Islamophobes. Do you get it? Because they have a one-dimensional narrative, and if you enter it on that basis, then you're gonna get yourself into a muddle. The way to approach these things is on what is the outcome. Okay, slavery existed. What did Islam do about it? Okay. Then look at Islamic history and see how gradually it was all taken away. But I think, look, this whole topic of slavery and everything else is a very big topic. It's not something people shouldn't look for sound bites in these things.
No, this is the point. Exactly. No, that's exactly the point. Yeah. The sound bite looking Muslim, like, people want to say Islam is the solution for everything and stop at that. Well, yeah, okay, it's a divine religion, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah, all of that. But Islam is the solution because Islam encouraged people to follow the text, which had some of the answers, but also follow the principles and the guidelines that Islam gave in order for you to guide you in the way to think, the way to be critical, the way to innovate. Islam doesn't have all the answers in a book where whatever problem you go to that book and you open it. No, it gives you an understanding of how to operate in the universe in order to come to the answers. For much of our problems. For some of the problems, is there. Sorry, yes, Abdullah.
No, it's, sorry to disrupt you, but in the process of addressing some of those issues, there was a underlining process. So, for example, in the Meccan time, Prophet ﷺ encouraged to free the slaves, and this is why Abu Bakr Siddiq and others were, it was the most noble thing to do, is to free a slave, make them independent so they can worship the Creator, to believe in Allah. So freeing the slave was like one of the most pious things that people could do at that time, those people who had the wealth. Then, obviously in graduation, as the Muslim community developed and built up, and then when they had that safe haven where, there was protection and so forth, people were more free, people, had the freedom, so they had to create that entity, So there was a process in that way. And just to think about the slavery in America, the abolition movement that took place, it didn't happen straight away. They didn't abolish slavery straight away. It took time. Civil war took place in America with the South. So there is a historical context. There have been so many really, really good people who've been trying to get rid of slavery, and they had to do it through legal means. Change the law step by step. They got to stage. Even now today, a lot of it there might be no physical slavery, but there's various different other types of slavery. But also that racism still is embedded in the culture. And this is why in America this debate is taking place. And also some of the generals now are saying that they want to really, really deal with it, because if you don't deal with it now, it's just going to fester. My question is, why isn't the right wing, the far right wing, responding now? Are they waiting for this to calm down and then they're going to get activated and start having a go at the leftists and
No. You know what? Listen, let me just stop you there. Very important, brothers and sisters. In this whole discussion, do not move away from the Islamic paradigm. Okay? Do not fall into right-wing, left-wing politics and ideologies and everything else. Do not learn what oppression is from anything other than what Islam is. Do not learn what justice is from anything other than Islam, because what you're going to do is you're going to end up making things even worse for yourself and your akhirah. And this is really, really important. So I think, look, whilst all of this, there's a momentum with the Black Lives Matter hashtag and everything else. There's a momentum, and that's a really good momentum. But as Muslims, we still are governed by our deen. Right, we still have to operate within our deen. And I think, look, when you look to solve these problems and issues, what you got to do, not do, is create bigger problems down the road. And I think, what one of the issues has been, like always traditionally, is whenever a problem comes up, what you have is you have different ideologies that have interests that come into it and then somehow hijack that movement. So this ain't the first time racism has been raised. I mean, look at if you like, one of the godfathers of anti-racism is who? Malcolm X. At his time, this was the most prolific speaker, articulate person ever, right? Everyone refers to him to understand a lot of things, yeah? But what success did he have, right? If you look at it, a lot of that movement got hijacked. And so we've got to learn those lessons. But for us as Muslims, we still have to use our compass should only be Islam. Otherwise, we get into dodgy areas.
I think I completely agree with what Azad Bhai you're saying in the sense that what is justice, what is oppression, what is freedom, all of these have an Islamic understanding and a definition. And within the Islamic sphere, there may be some differences between the ulama, right? There may be some nuances, but overall, on the whole, they agree on these definitions, 90% of the time. Now, we need to know what the Islamic definitions of these principles are. So what is slavery, for example, in Islam? How does Islam define slavery? But also, I think for us to advance in terms of the argument, to do collaborative work, to argue and defend Islamic principles and concepts, we do need to know what the other define it as well. We need to understand what
knowing other things is not a problem. But
exactly.
when you make alliances, If you don't make alliances honestly with your own principles intact, you're going to get yourself into trouble, because before you know it, you're going to be promoting un-Islamic stuff,
exactly.
and that's problematic. So that's one thing. Second thing is, we all agree. Look, this topic is not something that you can understand in a nutshell, right? No. There are some principles that you can get, like, for example, slavery is bad, it's unacceptable. Racism is bad, it's unacceptable. Yeah, all of these things you can get in a nutshell, but to understand the complexity of how it operated over the centuries, 1,000 years at least, right, minimum, you're not going to learn that overnight. So what I would say is, try to understand this holistically, but remember, your anchor has to be from an Islamic perspective. Otherwise, you're going to get into a lot of dodgy areas.
Yeah, and sometimes, we just have to say the truth and be prepared to be prepared for the uncomfortableness of saying the truth, right? It's sometimes slavery, it took time for slavery to be abolished. Rasulullah SAW didn't do it straight away. Now people might say, that means he accepted oppression, that means he tolerated oppression and all that, and we're going to have to just say, no, that's not the case, and we may never be able to convince the other that isn't the case. But yeah, it's true that there was slavery, and it wasn't abolished on the second day of Islam, taking control and power, and it took time. In fact, slavery was completely abolished in Islamic countries many hundreds of years after the death of Rasulullah. So slavery was a live currency during the Uthmani Khilafah. So these are truths, and we shouldn't shy away from that. And this is what I mean about the arguments. When we enter these debates, we enter it from another paradigm, and in order to fit that paradigm, sometimes we will give up on the truths from within our own deen, and that's really quite important. One thing I want to say about this whole topic, because when these topics happen, you kind of realize some of your own lackings in terms of knowledge. So I was thinking, damn, slavery is true, man. Slavery, gifting women and accept, human gifts. How is that even possible? In this day and age, if I was to gift a human being to that's oppression. But it happened during the time of the Prophet. The Prophet ﷺ received Maria al-Qibtiyya from the ruler of Egypt, and it happened. So how do you understand that? How do you get your head around it? And if you're not rooted, or if you don't have answers to that, it could shake your faith, right? It could make you waver. And so on this whole
the people, and I've seen this, the people is going to shake the hardest are the people who've relied on their compass being from other things than Islam, whether it's the left-wing ideology, Marxism, whatever it is, this whole equality and everything else. Islam doesn't have these kind of concepts. And there's issues, like if you look at how, why are same-sex marriage and all of these stuff now being taught in school? Why is it all because of this equality whole thing? So it's from our point of view, we've got to understand that there are certain things we cannot get into, and there's certain things we can't accept and we can't normalize. But look, one of the things you were saying there about this topic and learning and everything else.
Yeah.
I think obviously, look, we have to understand the issue. But the second thing is, like when people want to do things. So at the moment, you had a lot of protests that took place up and down the country. Mashallah, there was a huge turnout in every single one of them. And you've got now people identifying particular statues and things like that, and let's get rid of them. But in all of this, I think whilst people have got this hunger to do something, what people have to focus on is not on these things, whilst they might be symbolic. What they have to focus on is actually the institutionalized forms of racism and discrimination. Okay,
the production line.
No, not the production line. The factory. Okay, you're talking about the police, for example, right? You're talking about government policies and laws, right? You're talking about how the criminal justice system works. You're talking about health, right? The NHS, for example, there's a lot of, as we know, through COVID-19, right? The majority of the frontline doctors and everything else that died in the initial days were all from black and ethnic minority. A lot of them actually were Muslim, right? But these, and there's a good percentage of Muslims in the NHS, but they don't occupy the higher positions within the NHS. Why is that? Because there are the old boys network, there are structures in place, there are policies in place that impedes their progress, right? So even the health, even in employment, even in education, okay, all of these areas need to be looked at. And what people need to do is like, look, it's not about, I think we should talk about representation politics as well, because I'm not a big fan of representation, right? Because what happens is you get people like Priti Patel, okay? You get people like, what's his name, Sajid Khan or something, yeah? So you get these guys, Sajid Javed rather, you get these guys, yeah, you get these guys that they have the skin color, but in everything they say and do, they're doing exactly the same. So Priti Patel, Windrush, and everything else, pushing it all through, and then she's like claiming in Parliament, oh, when I was young, I got called a Paki. Well, yeah, maybe you did, right? But why are you now pushing discriminatory policies? Why are you trying to chuckle at the country black people? So it's really important that we kind of galvanize ourselves in that way of understanding. And what everyone should do is like, look, if you're working in the health, if you're working in education, wherever you're working, ask to see the policies of your organization, that and then you can see where the gaps are, okay? And then you can say, okay, tell me now. And it's not about representation, it's not about quotas, it's about taking away the privilege that's given to other people. And it's about providing that opportunity for everyone. So if we kind of do that, then in this moment of time where there's a lot of energy, maybe we can make some real change.
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to say, I wanted to plug something actually about on the topic of slavery. There is a Dr. Jonathan Brown from Georgetown University, convert Muslim Sheikh. He has written a book on slavery. Amazing book. You can get that on Amazon. It's available. Slightly pricey, but it's a really good book. But in the meantime, whilst you're waiting for your Amazon
lecture as well, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say he did a lecture, an hour and 50 minutes with Dr. Yasir Qadi. Actually, it was in Dr. Yasir Qadi's masjid. He went and he spoke about slavery and all of that stuff, and it's quite an in-depth discussion. It's really good because it enables you to just understand what he's saying. One of the things that he said actually, and this is where Khalid Rahman is saying, in Islam our morals are objective and do not change, whereas human beings, their morals are subjective and change with time and place. Well, actually, Dr. Jonathan Brown argues that that's not necessarily the case. There are certain things that are, forever in terms of our moral underpinning. They're constant through time and age. But there are other things in terms of our morality and all of that, which are based on customs, and they can change according to time and place. Sorry.
Did he give any examples of what that?
Well, what he was saying is, if you, for example, like a gut feeling, if you're disgusted by certain actions and it's a gut feeling, then that necessarily isn't. Sorry, I'm not giving you a direct example of what I just said before. I'm just saying a couple of things that he said that was interesting. The second one of them is about the gut. The gut is not actually a source of law or morality. Just because your gut says, this is disgusting, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is. Right? So what he was talking about is your gut tells you that slavery is disgusting. Right? Your gut feeling is that slavery is horrible. That's not what you go by. That's not what you go by. So
we understand in terms of law and in terms of principle. It's got to be revelation and sort through that. We understand that.
Yeah.
I think I was a little bit confused because it's obviously morality. It doesn't change over time. Like things that are immoral in Islam, they've not been developed from gut feelings and intuitions of individuals, right? If the Prophet ﷺ articulated it, then it's legislated, right? If Allah revealed it, it's legislated. Or if they are derived from by the fuqaha, then it's legislated, right? It's not It's not a gut feeling. So I think it's important that we just clarify.
No, I know, but that last point that you made though, if something's derived by the fuqaha, then those things are ijtihad, right?
Yeah.
Those things are ijtihad, they're not necessarily
individual.
Yeah.
So ijtihad also has levels, isn't it? Where there is a consensus, that is very solid. But I accept individually, some ulama might say so. Like in terms of what these are, I think moral isn't the right word. It might be in terms of, say, for example, hijab, or you know, so some would say you can keep the face open, and some will say niqab, right? And there's a disagreement on there. But the morality, the moral issue here is that you should have what? Haya. You should have you know, lower your gaze. You should
modesty.
Yeah, modesty. You know, all of these things that doesn't change. So the morality of modesty won't ever change.
No, that's right. So exactly. So I think we're saying the same thing in the sense that there are certain, there are certain things, the fundamental, the principles are constant, but then the secondary aspects of some matters are basically customary. And he was given the example of of dogs eating dog, right? Some people might find it morally repugnant, and other people it's what they eat like regularly, right? They eat it. Now, Islamically, is there a hard and fast rule on that? You know, some of the Malikiya have allowed it. Some of them have said it's disliked, but it's not prohibited. You know, so there are so without getting too deep, the issue is that
I think instead of dog, say horse.
Sorry?
Say horse is a little bit more palatable.
Yeah, horse. Yeah. So the point is that the abolition movement, their thing is that slavery is morally repugnant, not just for our time, but historically, forever and ever, all the way through. And that, if that's the case, then was it morally repugnant when it was allowed at the time of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam?
No, but this is the thing, it wasn't allowed. And I think this is the important thing. Like the Sharia, like it's like development, isn't it? In certain, so the time before the Prophet ﷺ, okay, there's a lot of things that happened. It doesn't mean it was allowed. Do you get it? And when the Prophet ﷺ came, he didn't stop everything in one go, right? There was focus. Like the first focus was what? Tawheed. Tawheed was the focus, right? But then from that, you had like, stop bearing your daughters. You had other things that came. But everything wasn't instantaneously like from day one. Just like the Quran wasn't revealed in one day, it was over 23 years, right? So you got to factor that in. So I think, we're going to just be careful how we're saying this. But the point is, like, watch that Jonathan Brown's video. I think he gives a good understanding and good explanation. And I think, look, there are also other things that you can watch and learn from. But I think one of the important things in all of these discussions is, look, if we just discuss and talk and pat each other on the back and and then leave it, nothing's going to change. You've got to actually work at the change, and you have to do something that is tangible, like whether if it's just writing to your employer and saying, with all of this Black Lives Matter thing and everything else, I want to understand the diversity policy. I want to understand the discrimination policy. I want to understand how is this company ensuring that we're not inadvertently doing things that are racist, for example. So just starting that conversation would be a big step forward if a lot of people did it in their own workplaces, I think.
Absolutely. And to say, I think one of the other key messages here, and I think Abdulbai's screen has frozen. Somebody's asking. It seems like it has frozen, so he's gonna come back when he's unfrozen. Let it go. Anyway, what was I going to say? In terms of the whole thing, don't use Islam as a soundbite. Is what is one of the things that I'm learning from this whole experience. You know, we shouldn't use Islam as a soundbite. Or Islam and Islam.
Sloganeering. Sloganeering is something I understand you would do at a rally or a protest, because you know it's slogans. That's what they're about. It's about slogans. So like Black Lives Matter, it's a slogan, right? So Islam is a solution. It's a slogan. But when you're having a discussion and a debate, or if you want to make change, you can't use a slogan. You've got to use the substance from that, and that's what we like is really important. So I think, you know, it's about people understanding, you know, when to do what. Unfortunately, we do have a lot of people just, you know, in every discussion, they just say, oh yeah, Islam is the solution. And then that's it. Well, how is it the solution? Tell us. And then they shut up, or they just disappear. So I think this is the problem. I think Abdul Alim was also mentioning that we should discuss about the mosques not opening and what's happening. Because I think from Monday, basically, the government's allowing private worship. I think a lot of the masajids aren't opening. But before we get into that discussion, I think we should have a short nasheed break.
Yeah, let's do it.
We haven't played this nasheed for too long, and EasyTalk cannot be EasyTalk without playing this nasheed. Here it comes.
الأرض والشطآن والبحر الأرض والشطآن والبحر في غزة الشماء تستعير والشعب يمضي للمنى قدما والشعب يمضي للمنى قدما والحور في الجنات تنتظر الأرض والشطآن والبحر في غزة الشماء تستعير والشعب يمضي للمنى قدما والحور في الجنات تنتظر والحور في الجنات تنتظر الأرض والشطآن والبحر في غزة الشماء تستعير والشعب يمضي للمنى قدما والحور في الجنات تنتظر والحور في الجنات تنتظر والطفل يرسي في العلا مجدا ومجدهم يهوي ويندثر والطفل يرسي في العلا مجدا ومجدهم يهوي ويندثر لا تعجبوا فالطفل معجزة لا تعجبوا أطفالنا كبروا لا تعجبوا أطفالنا كبروا الأرض والشطآن والبحر في غزة الشماء تستعير والشعب يمضي للمنى قدما والحور في الجنات تنتظر والحور في الجنات تنتظر والقدس صاحت من مادنها هلا عدت الفتح يا عمر والقدس صاحت من مادنها هلا عدت الفتح يا عمر والمسجد الأقصى وحرمته قدسها السفاك والقدر قدسها السفاك والقدر الأرض والشطآن والبحر في غزة الشماء تستعير والشعب يمضي للمنى قدما والحور في الجنات تنتظر والحور في الجنات تنتظر كنتم بنفح الله علما لما ابتعدتم داسكم كفر كنتم بنفح الله علما لما ابتعدتم داسكم كفر عودوا إلى الماضي وعزته عودوا ففي أحشائه عبروا عودوا ففي أحشائه عبروا الأرض والشطآن والبحر في غزة الشمال تستعروا والشعب يمضي للمنى قدما والحور في الجنات تنتظر والحور في الجنات تنتظر ثوروا ورووا الأرض أنوارا نحن الدجى وأنتم القمر ثوروا ورووا الأرض أنوارا نحن الدجى وأنتم القمر أنتم صفاء النفس فانتفضوا لا يثنكم عن دربكم كدر لا يثنكم عن دربكم كدر الأرض والشطآن والبحر في غزة الشمال تستعر والشعب يمضي للمنى قدما والحور في الجنات تنتظر والحور في الجنات تنتظر هل يذكر التاريخ أنكم بعثتم المجد
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah and welcome back. So let's get straight to some of the text messages, inshallah. Look, guys, we're daring you, we're challenging you to actually take us on the yes no game if you so choose. If that's how you flex your muscles, please do so. 0208, I think it is 0208 1234507 is the number for you to dial. People have been texting us. They are saying, Salam brothers, idea regarding what to discuss. I have heard a lot of conspiracy theories from our community about COVID-19, that it's man-made. It is made to wipe out the BAME community, the sick and the elderly community, who they think are no longer useful to society. Going into hospital is dangerous. They use an injection to kill people off. Just wondering what your thoughts are. Are these things, these are some of the things that I've heard. People really believe it. Do you believe it? I'm sure we can discuss that, inshallah.
No, we don't discuss that, Kalam, because we already discussed it.
Oh, come on, man. Let's discuss it again, man. We'll definitely discuss it. Come on. And then another suggestion. Babies and children don't see color. They are born to see everyone as equal. It is with the conditioning of the world to see differences, hierarchy, and to end up making subconscious decisions. And then Muhammad Mufti Mia is saying Islam created a dazzling global culture and civilization which endured for more than 1,000 years. Yet today, the majority of the world's Muslims do not know much about Islam's theological, philosophical, scientific, mathematical, cultural, and architectural contributions to world civilization. It is true that today a significant proportion of the world's Muslims cannot even read and write. Yet, more than 1,400 years ago, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had unequivocally told all his followers that seeking knowledge is not an option, it is an obligatory duty upon all Muslims.
I'm gonna give it to you, Kalam. You're Daroon. I'm gonna give it to
you. Kalam, first of all, your screen is so grainy. It's like it actually matches your retro shirt. It's like, you know, it's like you're on the dial-up. Okay,
Brother Azad, Kalam's appearance is a trigger for migraine.
Oh, no,
it's a trigger for migraine. But I've got to say, I'm holding on, yeah. I'm telling you why I'm holding on. I'll tell you why, because there's something wrong with my internet. It freezes me, it cuts off, it's coming in, it's going out, yeah. So a bit of patience, but I'm not getting the migraine, but you know, I'm all right. I'm okay. I'm doing all right.
I'm really, look, I've got to make an apology now that you raised it. Look, if you got internet with Sky, drop them.
Okay, tell me. Yeah,
I don't have internet. I don't have internet.
I go with BT or I do like a search on comparethemarket.com because it's crap.
Listen, Just change your provider ASAP. Okay, let's discuss about the masajids opening. We want to hear your views as well, brothers and sisters. Do you think so? The government from Monday is allowing religious institutions to open up for private worship. Okay, do you think so? We need a way of doing polls actually. Hopefully our producer is listening and he can think of how can we do polls live on Facebook. I think you can. There's a poll option.
So tell me, Azad, so that means on Monday we can go and pray in the mosque?
Yeah, on your own.
Okay. All right. On your own? No Jamaat?
No Jamaat. That's what private. That's what it means.
That's not private.
It is private. It is private. It's between you and God.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. In a public place.
Now, okay, so the question is, a lot of the mosques, and I think the guidance has been also from MCB and others, look, in July, they're going to allow it to open up for congregational and everything else. So instead of rushing to open now, what should happen is you should get your masjid ready so that you can do kind of allow the worship to take place safely. So what are your thoughts? What do you guys think? Oh, from Saturday and it's not from Monday. Thank you, Taiba, for correcting me.
Wow. So
well, I don't know what the rush is, man. I seriously think, people just need to stay at home. What is the problem with praying at home? Just pray at home. Just do it with your wife or like your children, huh?
Come on, bro. It's fard.
Yeah, it's fard if it's fard. If it's
government's allowing.
It's fun to pray. It's not fun to do it in Jamaat according to the consensus of the ulama. Like it's highly recommended, and if men can do it, it's good. But why rush it?
What? You confused?
I don't think they're rushing it now. I personally think, like in the early stages, it was important. Hear me out. It was important, and I totally agreed. And I think the mosque and that did very good in kind of like, like making awareness and in telling the congregation and that. But I think we've passed all that now. So me personally, I can't see where the issue is. Yeah, because.
I mean, I agree with Abdul, and I understand what you're saying as well, Kalam. But my thing is, look, if you, as a mosque, are ready to open from Saturday, then you should open.
Look. So can I just interrupt? Sorry, I'm really, really sorry. There's two things happening here in my mind, right? Firstly, the government is rushing all of this stuff, normalization, because the economy, according to them, is going, it's come off the cliff edge. Right, which is understandable. So it's no longer, look, right from the beginning, they were yip-yapping to us about it being scientifically led and we're going to be led by the science. This is not a scientific decision. They're not even allowing their scientists to speak anymore. Forget that, bruv. What they want is to open up the society. They want the shops and
If you say about the government, I'm totally 100% with you. The government.
Okay, so that's not with the government. The mosque politics is no better than the government politics, mate. That's what I'm saying. Those committee members, they're not getting their bucket shaken on a Friday. They're not getting the evening madrasa.
That's not a personal gain. See, this is where I disagree with you. So look, on the government's messaging and its ideology, it was definitely money over health. That was definitely their case, and herd immunity was their approach from day one. Okay, I totally accept that. But with the mosques, right? I think, look, there's a different issue here. Like they're not getting subsidies, right? They still They still have to pay their bills and things like that. Maybe.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's the economical thing, argument for the mosques as well, because a lot of the mosques are struggling. But I reckon, look, if you look at the number of people that are dying, if you look at the R rate, if you look at our response compared to other countries' response that are around the same level of infection and death rate as us, we're rushing it. We're rushing to quote unquote normalize society and the structures of society way too quickly. We haven't had a second surge. There is going to be one, and this is looking more and more like that. They've dropped the science, and now they just want herd immunity. They are prepared.
No, but just to be not sensationalist about this, right? Because just I want to temper it a little bit, Kalam. Yeah.
All right, no, no, no.
Is look,
Spoil sport.
facts are all on the table. The biggest fact here is there is no cure. This is what you got to understand. The second thing is this pandemic, like so, COVID-19 is a variation of the flu, essentially. Okay, it's a new form of the flu, and it has certain kind of things that it does to your body, like your breathing and all of that kind of stuff. Now, what happens is most people who've had it, they've, alhamdulillah, a lot of people have survived it and they're okay. Unfortunately, a lot of people have died, and that is squarely lies on the government's feet.
When you say a lot of people, so let's just 40,000 that have died according to, like, you know, and then it's more like 50,000 those that are on the birth certificate, on death certificate, and then it's 60,000 if you look at the other associated. So around 60,000 people.
I agree with you, 60,000. Right? Even if you said to me it's 100,000, I agree with you. Right? I'm not going to disagree with the numbers, but that's not my point. The point is where you don't have a cure for something, okay? And this is where the science is, that our bodies develop immunity towards these things, but the only way it creates the antibodies is by being infected, because that's the only way. Unless your cure usually, or you know, the flu jab and things like that, is basically pumping antibodies into your thing. That's what it is. So I think,
so basically you're arguing for herd immunity now. You are
arguing for herd. No, that's where you need
Kalam, that's what's happening. Kalam, that's what's happening. If you know it or not, that's what's happening.
I'm saying that, look, all I'm saying, I'm staying at home. I'm praying at home. So there are people that there are people that have put themselves up for scientific examinations, and you know they're willing to look for a vaccine and all that. And I'm sure they'll find a vaccine very sooner or later, inshallah. And in the meantime, if we know that Asians are susceptible to higher rates of death, blacks are susceptible to higher rates of death, people who are impoverished, people who are living on the borderline, people who need benefits, people, the homeless and the sick and the elderly, they're gonna die. Then no, like, stay at home, people. Pray at home. Honestly, pray at home until it's safe to do so. Because
look, let's just try and let's try and understand this. When they're saying, like, you know, the BME community, black community are at a higher risk. Yes, higher risk within the community who've got issues and who's got chronic problems in that. Yeah, and we have that in that community. So majority people don't, and what we've got to do is look at ways of solutions. So when Brother Azad says, can the mosque facilitate for that? So what will happen? Not all mosques will be able to facilitate for that, but there are many mosques who can. Their hygiene processes are very good. They might have all the protocols put in place. They've got staff members to do all that stuff. So it's not going to be like everybody able to go to the corner mosque and kind of like pray, because that corner mosque or the local community mosque might not be able to provide that safety framework. Now that is an issue of the different grades of masjid that we have with the management committees, and they got to reflect and find ways of how they can provide and accommodate. But
yeah, but Abdullah, sorry to interrupt you, sorry to be rude and interrupt.
No, that's okay.
The bigger mosques, yeah, they're digitally a little bit more aware. They've got a lot bigger volunteer base. They've diversified their fundraising streams. So they are. It's the smaller corner mosques with the imam who not only does the mosques, but he also does the circumcision and the death certificate all in one go. Like, you know, he'll write it up and he'll say, look, come back to me in 60 years for your death certificate, or send your son if you're not around. That kind of mosque, yeah, that they're the ones that need to open. And I'm telling you now, when the bigger mosque,
I think you're generalizing. I think you're generalizing. It's not about the size of the mosque.
Me generalize? Come on.
You know what? One thing, and I'm saying this in a flippant way.
When I mean the bigger mosque, sorry, Azabah. When I mean the mosques that are more prepared, like they've got, you know, they're a little.
I'll tell you one thing, yeah. With one of the things that mosque got to do, yeah, they've got to deal with the carpet. Okay, because
no. My first test, if you can stop a musalli from coughing when the Allahu Akbar goes, takbir tahrima, then open up. Because look, mate, it's a competition from the front line to the back line.
Face mask, though.
Look, yeah.
Abdul, don't interrupt me. Let me just say this, right? look, it's when you make it a large and small mosque thing, I think that's it's a red herring. I know personally, I know of a lot of smaller mosques that are more digitally aware than
Yeah,
the
no, this is what I'm saying. That's why I'm not saying
Yeah,
When I say small, I know,
they're also very well prepared in terms of the protocols for COVID-19 and everything else. They've got the PPE stuff and everything else, right? They've also got developed policies like, no one over 50 is going to be allowed, or 60.
That's
whatever.
right. Yes.
All of this stuff, they're already, you have to bring your own musalla, and you have to be wearing a face mask. There's no wudu or toilet facilities available. There's going to be a one-way system. You come in one door, you go out the other door. There's no mingling. Do you get it? So I've seen these kind of things in place, right? So I don't think we should reduce it to that. But, the other thing is we've got to remember, other than Allahu Alam, right? And I've traveled across the country, other than East London Mosque, to be honest, where like the Zuhr Salah and the Asr Salah are packed, basically. Okay, most mosques, right? They don't have, unless it's Jummah, they don't have thousands of people there. So we also got to be a little bit realistic, in terms of how many people are going to go. Because people, look, this is where the responsibility, and that's why Allah's given us a brain, right? This is where the responsibility goes on the individual. The masjid should open, I think, and I don't think it should rush. I think if you're in a position to open with all of the protocols in place, Bismillah. If you're not, wait and get yourself ready. But we as Muslims,
the scientists say society shouldn't be opening up. That's my point. The scientists who we don't hear much of nowadays because it's moved on to a political.
I've spoken to a scientist and I've spoken to doctors, right? Like one doctor I've spoken to he's been very anti-opening this, all of that kind of stuff from day one. But even he's saying, no, you know what? Now is the time to slowly start to open up. It's in phases, right? Now, you can't account for all of the stupidity. And remember, look, we're seeing people going out all the time now. Like, people are just going out regardless. But
look, mate, I'm staying at home. I don't care about.
But there's going to be people who are going to look at themselves and think, you know what? I don't think it's safe to go out, so I'm not going to go out. So the Muslims are going to do the same thing. They're going to think, you know what? I don't think it's safe for me to go to the masjid, so I'm not going to go to the masjid. Khalas. So I think, what we do, unfortunately, is we make everything into a big fitna and debate where it doesn't need to be. This is the same thing that happened with the burials. Subhanallah, I'm so annoyed with those people who did not allow ghusl for the early COVID deaths. Subhanallah, you know what I mean? I mean, they have their excuse, but I don't. I find it very unacceptable. It was just purely their fear and nothing on facts. So let's operate on facts. I think if you operate on facts, it is okay to open up slowly. Now, question comes, right? The question comes: are we going to get a second peak? The answer is yes.
Yes.
It's obvious you're going to get it. And even if you didn't open things up, you're going to get it anyway. Why? Because people are going out there shopping. But have you, if you see your Tesco's, your Sainsbury's, or your local grocery shop, what's going on?
They've not changed their policy, by the way. Huh? They've not changed their policy. They've still got their one way, the local shops.
Yeah, I know they have, but they're not. Come on, I've seen when I don't want to really say it, but some of the things I've seen in Tesco's and grocery shop, and you know what I see it. What I do is I just freeze and I wait and I count up to 60, or I look at my phone until a minute's gone past, so there's nothing airborne anymore.
The point. No, you make a really good point, because in the Houses of Parliament, the SNP leader asked Boris Johnson about social distancing, because they're now discussing reducing 2 meters down to probably 1 meter, and the science in that is that if you're 2 meters apart and it takes a minute. It takes the amount of that. I can't remember the exact words. Go and check on Parliament. But he said the amount of damage it causes in a minute, right? If you're 2 meters apart. So maybe if somebody sneezed, then whatever, Like, you know, in a minute, the amount of snot that comes to you. Okay, I can't explain it in any other way but East London way. Okay, you sneeze and you're like 2 meters apart. The amount of snot that reaches you, invisible snot that reaches you in a minute, if you're a meter apart, the same amount reaches you within 20 or 30 seconds, or even less than that. Yeah. So like just by reducing, you're halving the actually 4 seconds. He said 4 seconds. The sign 4 seconds. So you're halving the distance, but the damage you're not halving, you're increasing by an astonishing amount. So look,
help me with this here, right? So make it simple, because I need to understand it in a simple way. Yeah, that 2 meters. Yeah, you know, so someone has to sneeze, and it has, you know, the droplets has to reach people. If it reaches the other person, if that other person, if that droplet goes into his mouth or his eyes, then he's going to get it. Okay, so the aim has to be right, the distance has to be right, and if you're facing that person and you don't avoid him or her, then you're going to get it. No. I mean, you're going to laugh at
the breathing exercise.
No, you're going to laugh at this here, right? But look, the aim has to be right. It has to drop on you, okay? So the government's taken a blanket in order to protect society, right? Which they have a responsibility to do, right? But there is also an element of common sense in this as well, yeah, right? Because if someone sneezes on you, on your back, on your clothes, okay, your clothes has got it, okay? You have to, if you touch that and then you put it in your eyes, you've got it. So this is where washing your hands, washing your face, putting a mask on is good, because once you put a mask on, you don't want to touch it.
Yeah, but
Sorry?
that's
you know, I wear a cycle mask.
No,
here,
but
right?
here's the whole thing. No, they say we in a day, the number of time we touch our nose without it's in the 10s or 20s, man. I don't know.
It's true.
But why not just stay at home and be safe? What is the rush? What I'm saying.
No one is saying you shouldn't. See what you're look. You know what it is like.
Oh look, we've got like a vote. We've got like a poll on our thing now. See, it's very clever. Are we gonna get a second peak? Yes or no? Vote, brothers and sisters.
Yeah, right, brothers and sisters, vote. But that wasn't the question.
No, that's not the question.
Okay, look, we'll do this one. The question is, Mr. Producer, the question is, should mosques open, yes or no? So please, can you do another one? The question is, should mosques open, yes or no?
No, that's not the question, Mr. Producer. This is the question. Should mosques open, yes? No, sorry. Should mosques open, no, or definitely no?
No, so can we get another poll, please, Mr. Producer, but not asking about the second pick. Okay. You know what? You talk. I need to write it. Okay.
Okay, so I'll go through some of the text messages as well. So we're talking about mosques and opening. So Naima Begum is saying, well, if it's 50 plus people like age going to pray at once privately, might as well be in Jamaat then, isn't it? So okay, that's one thing. The other thing, the other question or a comment that Shamsul Islam is saying, I've never heard of a corner mosque all in one imam. Which corner mosque can I find this service from? Look, right, about these corner mosque imams who give you all in service, whatever you want. You can't publicly go to the imam and say, oh, I've heard. You got to like go to him and like, Imam Shab Balani, how are you? Kaisi hai? Sab kuch tik hai? Kya baat hai? Agar magar hum tik hai? Ye dosati hum nahi torenge. After all of that, yeah, then you have to say, I heard, yeah. Then you have to say, I heard you do, and then he'll be like, yeah, come to my office, innit? And then his office is actually his car, because he can't afford to do the deals in the mosque, yeah? Then you get the full service, bruv. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so obviously goes to a special mosque, and he's a special person with a special shirt, right?
And I take this shirt in there. And then...
I've given the text, so inshallah the poll will come up on your screen. Brothers and sisters, I want all of you to participate. We want to know if the mosque should be opening up from Saturday, yes or no. Okay. Just going back to the conversation, Kalam. Just one other thing. So you know, at some stage, okay, I think the poll is on there. So please start voting. Kalam, you should vote because your side might lose.
Yeah, should mosques open from Saturday for prayer, for private prayer? So I'm saying no, guys.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm saying yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, this is not popular.
listen, I'm saying yes. I'm saying yes to the right conditions.
Yeah, but well, obviously it's the right conditions.
Yeah.
That's
You're just gonna open up for the sake of it.
you know what I mean? It's like, come on. Afterwards, like, you know, he's worried someone might sue him.
Okay, Musa is saying, to be honest, I don't want the mosques to open because of the buckets. I want them to open because there are single mums, lone reverts, the Muslims who need that kind of environment, the youth who need people to boost their iman. Big mosques can facilitate for these people. For example, the East London Mosque have more than 4 entrances, exits. We have a number of volunteers and many floors that can encourage social distancing. I know a sister who has been alone in this lockdown, and she's tried to commit suicide because of her mental health, and she needs the support of the community. So very
there's absolutely, look, one of the things, and again, we all know this, we all hearing of cases, the amount of, because of the lockdown, the amount of people that are having mental health issues is also on the increase, right? You know, you've got to balance all of this out. So there's no way, you know me, man, I would never support this government on anything, okay?
There's nothing to do with the government.
So we've got to take the agenda ourselves and not be led by this stupid government, okay? We know they don't know what they're doing. Okay.
No, but that's the whole point. The whole point is that
I'm saying it's about us. Look, why can't we be sensible? Why can't we?
What? So far, 78% are saying no.
Whoa! Listen, where are you seeing this?
Don't you worry, bro. I'm getting, like, you know what I'm saying, that imam who does one for all and all for one.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Okay.
Most people.
Right. No, but the point here, Azizbay, is that I reckon the agenda has shifted. You know, where the government was hiding behind the science. I think ever since Boris Johnson prevented the scientists from answering that question. Do you remember when one of the journalists asked a question to the scientist, and Boris Johnson intervened and said, "Oh, you know, I reckon, oh, you know." And then after that, I think the scientists have fought back a little bit. In terms of, you're actually not doing as the scientists are advising you, and so they've just gone on an economic priority now, and which you understand as a government, you kind of understand that, because economically the country is on its knees, right? But I just believe that the issue of opening up society, restaurants and all that, is going to affect the people that they actually want dead. You know,
this is the thing.
Let me say that again, because that's quite liable, isn't it? It's going to affect those that if they die, they don't give a crap.
Yeah. All right, Callum, why do you think Boris Johnson? Callum, why do you think Boris Johnson hasn't cut his hair yet?
Hey, he has.
You're a barber, mate.
Who? Why do you think? What's the psychology? Like, well, let's see if you understand. Why do you think his hair's still like long and fluffy and everything? Yeah,
his hair.
No, he hasn't cut his hair.
It looks different. Maybe he put some water on it. Like
he's putting, you know what? Because he cannot, as a public, show that he's cut his hair and had interaction with someone else.
All right, so look, I gotta say, like, you know, okay, imagine, like, Azizbay is the Speaker of the House, yeah, and I'm gonna come and give the results, yeah. Okay, so the eyes mean yes, isn't it? Eyes mean yes.
Yeah.
Guys, okay. Where are you doing this thing?
It's a bit technical, bro.
Right, you know.
I can't even see it anyway. Big one.
All right, so the eyes are 25%, and the nays are 75%. Yeah. 60% have said no.
The eyes have it. The eyes have it.
Right. All right. So now, what this calls for, Abdul-Bai, is another poll. Azizbay, you have to write this poll down, okay? For our producer. All right. People are demanding, because we're gonna go. The mosques are gonna open. Despite this poll, the mosques are gonna be open. You need to teach us once again the breathing exercise, Abdul-Bai. You need to give us.
Not today. No.
Well, actually, you cannot go against democracy, brother. we're going to take this to the poll. Guys.
No, not today.
Right, a poll.
Next Friday.
No, tonight, bruv, because we're gonna do a poll. Who wants Abdul Bai? Do you want Abdul Bai to do the breathing exercise? Yes or no? Yeah. We're doing another poll, guys, and we're gonna have to submit to the will of the
the breathing exercise.
Okay, so I'll read some text messages. Zishan Siddiqui saying, Abdul Bai, we need a demonstration of your breathing exercise. So I knew you'd
said it. That's one.
Yeah, it's gone to the polls now, isn't it? Inshallah.
Yeah, so and, we're doing another poll, inshallah. We're doing another poll. Okay, look, just bring back the discussion again, right? In terms of like, I know, Kalam, you're saying you're going to stay at home and everything else, but really, if you think about it, unless congregational prayer is allowed, what is the purpose of going to the masjid?
True, it's true. It's the main function. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think, and you know what, I wanted to leave this right at the end, even though I said yes. I want people to kind of appreciate that. Because a lot of us, we've become culturally attached to institutions, like whether they're mosques or not, and we don't understand the religious significance of that. And I think it's really, really important. The masajid are there to provide the congregational prayers. That's where men need to, and it's further on the men to go and pray in the masjid, right? But not on your own. Do you get it?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I said that before, and you said privately. You said privately.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to say it right at the beginning. I wanted to say it at the end of the discussion, and so just make it.
All right, so we've got the poll now, ladies and gentlemen. The question is: should Abdul do the breathing exercise live and exclusive on EasyTalk? Yes or no? So on this one, me and Azad Bai, I reckon we're going to be in agreement. I don't know how Abdul Bai is going to vote, but this is the beauty of democracy. You don't have to tell us, brother, and you won't be shot dead for your vote. No, we will respect it. And
so where do I vote then? How do I vote?
Go on to your
Facebook. Don't you have a phone? Have you not got a phone?
Okay, all right, go on. Yeah, all right. Oh, yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I see it now.
I can see it.
Yeah, I got it now. Okay, yeah.
Musa is saying I'm going to be using Abdul Bai's breathing exercise throughout my labor.
Inshallah. May Allah make it easy. It'll be
Yeah.
You want the real? Yeah. Okay, go on.
Abdul Bai, you should start.
Yes, bruv. Okay, so done, bruv. 92%. Yeah.
92% have said yes. So if you want to save Abdul Bai and you haven't voted yet, vote, and then we will be
making a difference. Oh, it's gone down to 82% now. Ooh.
There you go.
Yeah.
We'll leave the poll on there for a few more minutes, inshallah, and carry on voting. While we're speaking, you can vote. As we see, I don't think you can do multiple votes. So, but
the point you made, Azad Bai, is so true because, although I really, it's quite a heart-moving comment that Musa made about, the different kinds of Muslims and the challenges that they're facing, the youth, the new convert, and all of that. But I've got to say, the Muslim community has been really, really innovative in terms of responding to lockdown and providing facilities and services to the entire family. A lot of institutes have given free courses, Arabic, Tajweed, Islamic studies. There are a lot of youth programs on the net, on Zoom, even on TV. So the Muslim community, mashallah, has responded. There's lots of stuff for converts, reverts, for mental health organizations. So all of these needs are there. Obviously, it never matches the mosque and the public face-to-face interaction and the human touch that you would have in normal cases. But as a alternative for the situation that we're in, I reckon the Muslim community has actually surprised me in the way that we've responded. Mashallah, there's so much goodwill, so much good stuff happening in the community, and I think it shows us that when we're forced to do things, we're quite a good community to respond. We actually we've got innovation, we've got strategy, we've got skills and experience, expertise. It's fantastic. It just took a deadly virus, a pandemic to get out. Yeah. But alhamdulillah, you know.
You got a bit of a supporter there. So Wasim Akhtar is saying, I agree with Mac. Apart from his wild conspiracies, mosques will fill with elderly, especially Yorkshire. Why are you attacking Yorkshire, bruv? They will be the most at risk. I think the children are adapting to learning from video calls. And for those lonely, there are options now. They can meet other people in safer areas. No point of getting mosque for our own prayers where we have been doing them at home, which has transformed things in my home with normalization of Quran and prayer. Interesting discussion, boys. Okay, Jazakallah khair. I think, look, his last point for me is the kind of silver lining in this pandemic for I would say everyone, I'm sure, because we've kind of like we've kind of created our homes. Our homes have become graves, isn't it, in that sense? So I think that now that there's regular prayer and Quran and things like that in our homes, I think it's a fantastic day. And like you said, look, we are definitely people who can, under pressure in all circumstances, we can find a way, and that's the beauty of this deen. I think, look, I think most people should wait till July. Get yourselves ready, and then slowly open up. But what I would say to the younger kind of viewers at the moment is, if you've got elderly people in your home who are at risk, you got to convince them not to take that risk. I know it's hard, okay? They also feel like, I'm just cooped up at home. I need to go out. And who the hell are you to tell me what to do and everything else? It is going to be hard, but you got to make them understand and do your best. And if you're allowing them to go to the shop here and there, then you're going to lose the argument. Why? Because then they're going to say, I won't go to the shop, I'll go to the mosque. Okay, so you got to be consistent in your approach. And I think the other thing is, look, the masajid and everything else, they do need help. Okay, like I know we were mentioning it and we were joking about it, but a lot of the mosques, they do rely on the contribution of them on a weekly basis, especially on Fridays and everything else. And I've seen, alhamdulillah, on the internet, a lot of the mosques are doing their Friday collections and things like that. So that's really good. But you got to remember, not everyone is able to do online, and not everyone sees these things as well. So they miss the opportunity. So I think, now that more people are going out, one of the things you should do, and the mosque should facilitate this, is if you're going to go out anyway for a walk or whatever, go to your mosque and just make a donation. The mosque should put its donation bucket somewhere accessible and just make a donation. And you get your exercise, you make a donation, come back home. Alhamdulillah, this is good. So I think, we gotta support the mosques, because look, a lot of effort and a lot of sacrifice has gone in with. I know there's a lot of mosque politics and everything else, right? But nonetheless, our forefathers, they have done a fantastic job in establishing these institutions, and it'd be a shame, it'd be very shameful for any of these institutions to fail.
Absolutely, I 100% agree with that. 100%.
Right. Okay.
When do you expect Jummah prayers to begin, to come back? Is a question.
July, because they're gonna open it up a lot more. So I think you're looking at possibly July.
It's going to happen. July is going to happen. It's just step by step they've got to do it.
You have 2 meter, or if it's a meter, whatever they say is the law, you're going to have that distancing. So inshallah, it'll happen. And it's going to be hard. And I think, look, the opportunity, because it's summer, alhamdulillah, there's a blessing. Why? Because you can do more than one jama'ah for Jummah. The time is quite long. So you can do 1 at, 2 o'clock or 1:30. And you can do 3 jama'ahs if you need to. So I think, so don't feel like, you need to rush and everything else. I'm sure the mosques are going to offer these facilities for people. Right, let's play a nasheed, bro.
Let's do it.
Let's play a nasheed. I think we should play.
And then, before you go to the nasheed, I think the votes are going to close now, and it's a resounding victory. Resounding victory. democracy prevails once again. You know, democracy more. 76% have said, Abdubai, get ready, flex those arms, nimble your neck, you know, do those breathing, breathe through your nose, all of that stuff, because you're going to be showing us.
Can everyone get some tissue papers? Yeah, all right. Everyone get ready with some tissue papers.
We're going to play in the sheet. You need to go prepare yourself, get some tissue, right? And then come in front of your screen. After this nasheed, Abdul will be taking the class.
Yeah, we want brothers and sisters. We want you to, you know, sisters, if you can join in, if you want, you know, in hijab. But we want you to record your exercise if at all possible and send it through to us. So we have a ensemble, we have a collage of the breathing exercise. Yeah.
And also,
so that we can have a laugh at you.
Yeah, exactly. With a bit of an antibacterial clean. Yeah, just clean your screen on the screen. Yeah, so that you got it fresh, and then we'll see what happens to it. Yeah.
And during the nasheed break, blow your nose. Don't let that green snot come out on live TV. All right, guys. All right. Yeah.
All right. Just before we get to the nasheed, Usama's asking. Inshallah, we'll be praying Eid Salah in the mosque. Inshallah. Nasheed time.
Inside his home was overwhelmed with fear. An angel came with words from God. Things were still unclear, saying read, read, but he could not read. Amazing words that he heard, the trembling deep inside his heart, confused by what had occurred. She was a woman of nobility, successful in all her trade. Many wealthy men had asked for her, she turned them all away. But when she saw Muhammad, a shining moon, may peace be on his soul. He was a light for her, so right for her, her life will now be whole. But she had never seen him so distressed as he was there that day. But she would comfort him and hold him tight and chase his doubts away when he said, Zammiluni, Zammiluni, Daffiruni, Daffiruni, a mighty task has come before me. I need you here with me by my side, by my side, by my side. We look for stories of love in places dark and cold. When we have a guiding light for the whole world to behold, but we're so selfish in our ways to the ones we hold so close. Our own pleasure and happiness is what we value most. But she sacrificed all her wealth and everything she had, and he honored her and gave her faith when the times were bad, when times were bad.
Speak, Abdul.
Hey, I think yeah, that's it. I'm on the hotspot yet now. Well, welcome back. If you've come back, I think all of you unanimously through democracy voted to do some bit of breathing exercises. I don't know what purpose. There's got to be a purpose behind breathing exercises. Breathings are done for various different reasons. But yeah, so I think we need to do a bit of warm up before we actually go to the breathing exercises. So I'm going to use two of my colleagues, the Daroon brothers. Okay, so Kalam, you ready? You ready? Yeah, let's do that one. Let's do that one. Yeah. Have you got your cap?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So what we're gonna do, we just let's go stage by stage. Yeah, not the cup now. Put the cup down because we need to warm up. Yeah. Okay. So follow me. Yeah. So we're just gonna with the neck up and down. Yeah. Just and sit up straight. Okay. Up and down. Now, when you do this, don't look upwards. Look straight with your eyes and let the body, neck go up and down. Yeah. So you don't get dizzy by looking up and down. So you keep your eyes focused on something and do that. Yeah. So we're gonna do 1, 2. No, Kalam, you're gonna get a headache like that. Yeah. Look. Yeah. Keep your eyes focused on something and let the head do the movement. That's all we're doing. Yeah. All right. Left and right. Keep your eyes looking forward. Yeah. So you're looking at the focus of the screen. Yeah, good. Very easy neck warms. Yeah, and then we do shoulders, and then we go into our breathing. Yeah, nice and slow. No, Azad, not like that. Yeah, what are you doing? No shortcuts. Yeah. Now we're going to rotate from right to left. Yeah, right to left, right to left,
right to left.
Yeah, good. Okay, now stop. We're going to rotate the shoulders. Rotate the shoulders. That's it. Nice and simple. 5, 4, 3.
Are you sure? This is
backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to lift the shoulders up and try and touch the ears. Yeah, 1 and down. 2.
That's impossible.
Down. 3, 4 and down. 5 and down. Good. Right. So now what we're going to do? We're going to hold the head, back of the head, and we're going to stretch it. So we're going to pull it down, and we're going to stretch forward. Yeah.
Can I breathe at the same time?
Yeah. Breathe. Normal. No stopping breathing. Now to the right. Yeah. We're not doing breathing now. We're just doing warm up and a little stretch here before we to the other side now. Hold it down. Good. Okay.
I'm ready, bruv. I'm ready.
No. Wait. No. Raise your hands up like this. Good. Now breathe in and breathe out and clap. Yeah. Don't shoot yourself. Go backwards. Get back up here. Where is? That's it. Breathe in. And breathe out. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So as though you're shooting. Yeah. So once again, breathe in. Oh my God! Yeah, don't do it before me. Don't do it before me. When I say yeah, breathe in and breathe out. Okay, that was the warm up. That's the warm up. Yeah, that's the warm up. Right now, let's go.
Okay.
Right, relax. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna breathe through the nose. Normal breaths, 5 and out slowly. Breathe in.
You know what, Mr. Producer, just put a nasheed in without moving this and keep the focus on us. Just put whichever nasheed you got on.
No, they won't hear you, and I've got to give instructions, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah. Okay, don't play.
So only through the nose, yeah. Breathe in.
Can I just read out some SMS? Shamsu said, I can already see green slime on Daroon Mac's screen. Zishan is saying you should have played a nasheed, and then Musa is saying, imagine I clapped and the baby fell out.
Right, listen, if you're serious, we're going to do this seriously here, right? So you're distracting me, yeah? Right. So you're going to breathe naturally and normally through the nose, yeah? Okay, 5. Do it seriously, yeah?
Sorry.
Seriously.
Breathe again, yeah? Breathe in.
I usually breathe through my mouth. I can't breathe through my nose.
Yeah, well, that's what we're going to find out, innit? That's where the problem lies.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, all right. So out of you two, Kalam struggled with the nose breathing, so we've got to work on that, yes? Yeah, because Yeah, some people have blockages in the nose, and that causes problem. Now we're going to breathe through the mouth. Yeah, we're going to breathe in, and we're going to keep it just here, the oxygen, and we're going to bring it out just here. So we're going to breathe in and breathe out quickly. Yeah, breathe in. Not drinking milk. Breathe in. Yeah.
You know, it reminds me of that zikr, that video that we're.
No. So, come on, guys. Slow it down. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. We're still doing natural breathing, yeah? Now we're going to breathe in and we're going to take it to the chest. Yeah? So feel the oxygen go to the chest, yeah? Breathe in and then breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay, relax. Now we're going to take the oxygen through the mouth and we're going to take it to the deep part of the stomach. Okay, so we're going to open the lungs and then squeeze it into your stomach. Yeah, so breathe in and breathe out. So hold it in your stomach for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so breathe in.
I need to squeeze it. You said squeeze it down. I'm squeezing it down.
Alan, you're so lucky your video quality is so rubbish because your facial expressions are.
I'm squeezing it down, brother. Come on.
Yeah,
I'm taking this
hold it. Hold it and then breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to use our hands. So we're going to breathe in
with our hands.
Yeah. So watch this. So I'm going
to. I have one screen on you. Hold on, one screen on you.
Yeah, so just go actual.
And then breathe out. And push out with your hands.
All right.
Yeah.
And breathe out.
Oh, this is the chi.
Yeah, breathe in. And breathe out. Okay, relax. Now we're going to do it with power.
It reminds me of the martial arts class I used to do when I was...
Yeah. We're going to do it with power now. So you're going to breathe in and with power as though something is trying to stop you. We're going to push out, yeah? Okay, like you're doing a press up, yeah? So ready, breathe in and breathe out.
Yeah, done it.
Breathe in and breathe out.
I feel like some superhero from Avengers, man.
Last one. Okay. All right, last one. Get some tissue. Tissue. Where's your tissue?
Yep.
All right. Put it on your nose and mouth. Yeah, cover it. All right, ready? Right, so turn to the right. And with this elbow, yeah, you're gonna breathe in as you go out. And so let me give you a demo, yeah. Then you go. So you're gonna breathe in, and as you come out, you're gonna breathe out, yeah. So we're gonna do it with the mouth first, and then with the nose afterwards, yeah. Right? Okay, ready? Yeah. So cover your face, breathe in, breathe out. Okay, breathe in, breathe out. Good. Now hard, okay? So you're gonna breathe out hard as you're gonna force that oxygen to come out, yeah? All right, okay, relax. Yeah. Last one. We're gonna do it with the nose now. So now make sure you've got it covered properly, yeah?
What were we doing it back then?
With the mouth. We were doing it with the mouth.
Oh,
yeah. Now we're gonna do it with the nose. Okay, ready?
Then I think I might need another tissue.
Yeah, so get another tissue then, yeah?
Yeah.
So ready? Breathe in and breathe out. Did you hear the ears pop? Did you hear the ears? Kalam, did your ears pop? Yeah. Ready?
Boys are gonna pop.
Okay, next, yeah. Yeah. All right. So you'll hear your ears may pop, which is good. You know, cleans the nose out. So, yeah, so if you've got any grime or anything on the tissue, dispose of it and then wash your hands properly. Yeah. We only did one side. Yeah. So you got to do the other side as well. Yeah. So in your own time, you can do the other side.
Oh, brothers and sisters, don't ever say we don't look out for you and we don't look after your health. Yeah.
Yes.
Special breathing exercises to help you deal with the stress of watching us on a Friday.
Brothers, did that get rid of your stress? Kalam.
Wow,
Yeah.
that was really good.
I actually feel really light and like refreshed, and I think I can go on for another hour or two.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit lightheaded as well, to be honest.
Okay, well, let's do this last one. Let's do this last one. It's not a breathing exercise, but it's pain endurance exercise. Yeah, and everyone can do it at the same time. So what we're going to do, I'll go back. I want everyone to put your hands up. So we need to see them, so they're not flat. So I want to see the hands.
Abdul, so they know.
Sorry? So you can raise your hands up. Look, so my hands like, so do you see? It's got like an aeroplane. That's it. Yeah. So you got to keep that hand up there. And what we're going to do is we're just going to do a little slow rotation. Okay. Right. Now you've got to be on this here. Everyone's got to do this. If you drop your hands, you've got to message and say that you've dropped your hands. You're at the game. Yeah. I want to see who can last the longest.
Oh my days. Right. Okay. So yeah, brothers and sisters.
And we can talk while we're doing this here, Kalam. Yeah, so we can continue the show. Yeah, we can continue the show, but we're gonna be doing this while we do the show. Yeah, so if we've got any other topics you want to talk about, let's talk about it. See, when you're under pressure and pain, it's important. Yeah, so some of the the Sufi schools, yeah, so they do physical exercises while they remember Allah in various different ways.
You know what this is? This is Karate Kid painting the fence.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So I'm sure all our easy talk viewers, you're doing this with us.
Should we do another poll?
Keep your hands up.
Exercising now. Yes or no?
Keep your hands up, Kalam. That's it. You're dropping your hands, Kalam. I can see you dropping your hands. Don't drop them. Raise them up a little bit. Oh. That's it. Raise them up. That's it. Look, they've got to be parallel. Yeah, Azad, you're doing very good. Yeah, excellent. Yeah. Yeah. Now, come on. Tell me what you're feeling. What are you feeling?
Huh?
What are you feeling?
You weren't grown or you shrunk.
What am I feeling?
No, seriously.
I'm feeling.
Go on, Kalam. Just look at Kalam's. Oh my God.
I'm feeling bad.
Right, now we're going to rotate backwards.
Oh,
this is how backwards now, yeah?
Oh, that feels so much better, man. Oh,
yes.
But the other way. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, backwards now.
I can't believe our viewers have given up yet.
No. They should be.
They can't text. Somebody's saying Daroon looks constipated.
Yeah.
Give him a break from the breathing.
Next one, yeah. Instead of going around, you're going to go up and down like this, like you're flying. Ready? Let's go.
Yeah, I like that one. Oh, I like that one. Oh my gosh. I don't know. You need to straighten them up, brother.
Yeah, straight. Look. Straight.
Yeah, that's good.
Right, look.
Right, shall we stop now? Because it's quite boring now.
Okay, let's relax that. Yeah, let's relax it. Yeah, well done, everyone. That was very good. You did very good. Excellent. Yeah, good. Relax those shoulders.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Well done. Now you passed the test. Yeah, your shoulders are good. MashaAllah.
You know what? Whoa, I can breathe better now. Alhamdulillah. Very good.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that was an interesting end to the show.
Let's just catch up on some of the
messages. Yeah.
Yeah. So hold one nostril with your hand and do the breathing exercise. And then Brother Azad, may Allah bless you. I mean the chai, this is the push.
The chi.
Everyone needs to screen.
Not the chai, the chi.
The
chi.
The chi. This is the the chi. Okay. Bruce Abdul by Lee reminds me of the Power Rangers. Yeah, that was I like that. I like that one. That's really good. Yeah, one of them looked like a Bollywood move. and a caveman, proper caveman as advice. Do the king sitting exercise, please. Facebook brothers need this exercise. And that's it. We're up to date with all our text messages. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, let's round up, brothers and sisters. It's nearly coming up to 1 o'clock. Final messages, guys, before we go. Anyone want to speak?
Yeah, I'll speak then. Yeah, no, alhamdulillah, great show. Thank you very much for all of the brothers and sisters tuning in. Remember to share the links to everybody so we increase the number of people that are watching and hopefully benefiting from our discussions collectively. We spoke about some really important subjects. One was on the whole Black Lives Matter and slavery. And secondly, we spoke about the reopening of mosques. And I think what it comes down to at the end of the day is that we need to have a good understanding of our faith, and that the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a deep religion. It's a religion for people who are thinking, people who are critical thinkers, people who are always looking to improve their knowledge and their actions. It's not for lazy, it's not for people who don't want to put in an effort into the religion. And you get out of the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what you put in. So if we put in the effort to learn, if we put in the effort to do ibadah, if we put in the effort to engage with the scripture, then we'll get out a lot more, inshallah, in terms of benefit, in terms of taqwa, in terms of spiritual and physical and intellectual nourishment, inshallah. I think what we need to do and what we need to understand is that Islam isn't a sloganeering religion. It's a religion which is actually about ubudiyya, about servitude to Allah. It's about being a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in every situation, in every condition. And that Islam came to, and this is what Sayyidina Ja'far ibn Abu Talib, he said to the king of Abyssinia, when the king of Abyssinia said, tell me about your religion and why you're here. And he said, our religion came to free us of being slaves of other human beings so that we can be slaves of the creator of human beings. So that's the whole purpose. This is the emancipating anti-slavery slogan of Islam, the reality of Islam, which is we are supposed to be free of servitude to other human beings so that we can truly become servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it was through Islam that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was able to ennoble and give positions of extreme loftiness and leadership to the slaves like Bilal and Khabbab and Hassan ibn Thabit and the likes of the Sahaba. So and aside I forget the name of that Sahaba actually, Ar-Rumi, the Shuaib al-Rumi and others. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to learn this religion, to understand it, and to not rush through it as if it's an easy thing. It's a religion of depth, and may we be people of depth, and may we be people of servitude, inshallah.
Yes, I just want to very quickly mention, obviously in the first stages, my internet played up, so I couldn't really get involved with the discussion regarding slavery. I just want to say, as Muslims, we're thrown in the deep end. And what I mean by that is basically Western concept is basically, public opinion, yeah, and public opinions are like formulated through loads of ideologies and isms. So when you're listening and like taking on information, when you're going to university, when you're going to college, when people they're always giving you from an ism or an ideology. Yeah, so so you think, oh, it's just his opinion or her opinion, but ultimately it factored into some ideology that's being pushed out. Now, I think Azad Bhai, he touched it really well, because what we got to do is we got to find what is the Muslim Islamic perspective. Yeah, and the problem nowadays is that the opinion is so powerful out there. Social media, news, like we're also creating opinions as well. We've got to ask ourselves a question: is my opinion based on the Deen? How much understanding do we have? How do we understand a problem and a solution? The classical scholars always came up with a solution based from the Islamic principles. If it was medicine, if it was physics, if it was social science, they took all those principles and they looked at the problems and they had a perspective. If you don't have a perspective from an Islamic perspective, then you have to ask yourself a question: where is that perspective coming from, and where is that going to lead you? Yeah, and yes, I do agree. It's so difficult to get proper Islamic training, because all the topics, may seem like, oh, so professional and so forth here, but we have to have Islamic perspective. Everyone else has got their perspective. If you look at socialism, they've got their perspective. If you look at neoliberals, they've got their perspective. If you look at feminism, they've got their perspectives. And I remember in university when I was studying gender studies, and we were studying feminism, 8 branches of feminism. 8 branches, So if you look in social science, there are so many isms and ideologies that are out there thrown, different media outlets are thrown all these kind of things, and we are receptible to that. If we don't have our own base, our own foundation, then what will happen, we will be gullible to other people's opinion, and this is where you'll be drawn in to the discussion in a particular framework. So inshallah, one of the key things from today, if we could, concentrate on our perspective from an Islamic perspective, study it, read it, look at it, ask questions, don't be shy, get that information, be correct, make sure you're actually giving a perspective from some. Don't be shy about it. People may call you fundamentalist or whatever, but the reality is everyone else is fundamentalist when it comes to their ism and their ideology. So why should you be shameful for that as well? We've got to be confident, but we've got to seek that knowledge and gain that knowledge, inshallah. If that helps you to think about that, then please do so. The subject of slavery is a vast topic, and we do have a contribution. The Muslims have played a big role in eradicating and dealing with that as well. And inshallah, let us also continue doing that ourselves in our own way, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair. Everyone, I'm not going to add too much. I think the final thing I want to say is when we discuss about the mosques and everything else, I think, look, it's really, really important that we understand that the responsibility of our actions first and foremost lies with us. We can blame the government for doing stupid things as much as we like. We can blame this person, we can blame that organization, we can do that. But at the end of the day, we're the ones who make the decision to do something or not to do something. So it is for us to use our brains, to use our intelligence, to understand what our current situation is, and then do the right things. Okay. Of course, we pray that the people who are in leadership positions in our community, like those that are running masajids and everything else, will make sensible decisions and will have protocols and everything else in place. But that still doesn't absolve us, me. It doesn't absolve me of my own responsibility to use my own brains and do the right thing. So do the right thing and make sure you tune in next Friday. Assalamu alaikum.